All America, all the time. Sit down, buckle up, and get ready for The Dan Bongino Show.
Yes, good morning and welcome to the Dan Bongino Show. It is July 30th. It is a Thursday. It's a beautiful day. That much I can tell you. Everybody's having a great time. Shawn Farash filling in one last time this week as we make it through Dan's little vacation. Took a vacation this week and I think a previous engagement. I think he was going to a wedding. So hope all is well there. Hope he enjoyed himself. Everybody had a good time. We are going to have a great time here this morning. That much I can tell you. See, sometimes I slip into Trump. I never say that much I can tell you unless I'm talking like Trump, but it just came out talking normal. Doctors would agree that might be a problem, but hey, that's all right. It's all good.
Multiple personalities is what one would call that.
By the way, Guy yelled at me this morning and said, let everyone know that Brennan is your wife. No one knows who that voice is. I'm sitting there thinking we're on LFA. Everyone knows who you are. They're like, who is this voice? That's my parole officer. She's a Russian spy. No, it's my wife, Brennan. She sits to my right. She also runs one of the soundboards. She's a manager, right?
Manager.
She's a manager. She runs a soundboard too. We have another soundboard. I have a soundboard. She has a soundboard. All sorts of shenanigans there. Just quick right off the top, if you can, it's been a great week. I hope you've enjoyed everything that we've done this week. I've gotten a lot of good feedback from a lot of great people, a lot of smart people. Please go to Bongino.com/Shawn. My show launches here on Silverlock on August 17th. So go ahead and subscribe anywhere you get your podcasts. Also, rumble.com/Shawn, SHAWN. You got to spell the name right. If you don't, we're going to have problems. You don't want to have problems, so we're going to have problems. So that's Bongino.com/Shawn for all the information about the new show launching August 17th. Super excited about that. And Apple Podcast, Spotify. You could search Shawn Farash Live, SHAWN FARASH Live. I'm assuming you know how to spell the word live. Subscribe anywhere you get your podcast. We greatly appreciate it. We got a lot on tap for you this morning. Fauci, we got an election to win. I got a little storytelling along the way. At the end, I promise we're going to have a lot of fun. There are two little elements we're going to have a lot of fun with towards the end of this show today. And we'll have some fun along the way as well. Poking fun at the usual suspects. All right, before we get to all that good stuff, I want to get to a word from My Patriot Supply. You know, just a few years ago, if you told somebody you were stocking up on emergency food, they would have called you a tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist. We've all seen the supply chain chaos. We've all seen the devastating natural disasters, inflation, war, civil unrest. That's why we are so excited to partner with My Patriot Supply, America's original Patriot preparedness company. Right now, My Patriot Supply is celebrating America's 250th birthday with one of the best deals that they've ever offered, $250 off of their best-selling 6-month emergency food supply, available now at preparewithdan.com. This is the exact same survival brand trusted by over 3 million American families. Why? Because they deliver 2,000 calories a day. Their food lasts up to 25 years without refrigeration, and it contains no GMOs or artificial colors or flavors. And you can count on it to keep your family fed no matter what happens. Even at full price, it is still the best decision you will make for your family. Go to preparewithdan.com to get your emergency food kit today. That is preparewithdan, DAN.com. Thank you, My Patriot Supply. Let's go! All right, here we go. Yesterday, you know what? The whole show, I thought about the whole show just pleading the fifth the whole time. I plead the fifth and say nothing. But I have a feeling a lot of people would get very upset with me if I did that.
I plead the fifth.
I plead the fifth. The fifth. Anthony Fauci. So, where do we begin on Anthony Fauci? Oh, we'll begin here. I can't stand I detest the guy. I detest the guy. And just if I may, we do a little story time, if I may. It's the last show that we're going to be doing tomorrow. Not here. So I'll be on rumble.com/LFATV if you want to jump on. But last show we're doing here on the Dan Bongino show for the week. All right. Little storytelling. I got involved in politics, in political commentary because of what I heard Dan Bongino talking about as I was stuck in traffic on the Tappan Zee Bridge in May of 2018. Spygate was just becoming a thing people were talking about. Dan was exposing a whole lot with regards to that hoax. And I remember thinking, the government's spying on sitting presidents. The government is spying on presidential candidates. Like this type of tyranny is unacceptable. And so the seed was planted in my mind. At some point in time, I'm going to have to do something, right? At some point in time, I got to find a way to get people motivated, get people engaged, get people involved, take over the political process in the state of New York, or at least in my backyard, right on Long Island, so that we can put an end to this overreach. That was in 2018. 2019 happens. Loyal Dan Bongino show listener, a P1. Many people would call it a P1, the greatest. Think about it, the greatest. And then at the end of 2019, we start hearing about mystery pneumonia out of China, right? There's a virus in China, pneumonia, people having a hard time breathing. It's nasty. And I'm going, here we go. All right, this is going to be like SARS. This is going to be like MERS. This is going to be like the swine flu. I was in high school for the swine flu. Everyone went nuts over the swine flu. Yeah. Rosie O'Donnell got the swine flu, but that's because she's swine. Think about it. Pig. And so 2020 happens. And we get into February. And I actually went up to, what's the name of the place in New Hampshire? Southern New Hampshire University. I forget the name of the town, but SNHU in late February. Mid to late February. There was a Trump rally in mid to late February at Southern New Hampshire University. I'm like, that might be the closest Donald Trump comes to New York because New York's not a red state. It's not a swing state. I'm going. So I go up there. It turns out that was either the last or second to last rally that Donald Trump had before the lockdowns. And it was his first rally that he had after beating the first impeachment hoax. So it was a raucous crowd and people were flipping out. It was I waited online for like 6 hours that morning in the rain. There was a little kid there shaming a Bernie Sanders supporter. You're an idiot. He's a communist. I was like, kid said it. You can't yell at the kid. Of course, the guy did yell at the kid because leftists are animals. And then a few weeks after that, we get the lockdowns. So remember, in 2018, the seed was planted. Man, our government is more corrupt than I thought. And we've got to take a stand, and we've got to use our voices, and we've got to take over the process, and we've got to have that we the people moment where we send a message to the government, hey, you're not gonna put your boot on our neck. We're not going to stand for it. The seed was planted in 2018. The seed was watered in 2020 because of Anthony Fauci, because of 15 days to slow the spread, because of what I lived through. And so many, we asked this question a couple days ago in the chat. Hey, were you from New York during 2020, during the lockdowns? And there were a lot of people in the live chat say, yeah, I was there. I remember it. The seed was watered in 2020. And I remember, because I was able to work all throughout the pandemic, Sherwin-Williams has a very talented lawyers that apparently found a way to qualify our paint stores on Long Island as essential businesses. How? I have no idea, but I'm happy that they did it because I was able to work. So not a lot changed for me. I didn't wind up getting sucked into the hysteria, like that. I said that episode of SpongeBob where he's making friends with a potato chip, a napkin, and a penny, right? I was like, well, life feels normal. I'm still going to work. I was still traveling. I was still, going out. I went out to the spots to fly my drones until a dumb town supervisor, whoever it was at the time, might have been Rich Schaefer on Long Island, and I emailed his office, why is the spot closed? Oh, we don't want gatherings. Bro, your beach is open down the road with hundreds of people parking at it, but 5 people can't go fishing over here? Oh, we're sorry for the inconvenience. Yeah, me too. I just parked next to where the lot was closed and walked right onto the. This is America. You're not gonna take that away from us, was the bottom line. That's how I lived during COVID. But I remember listening to Dan during that time period and him trying to calm everyone down. I remember the runs on the supermarkets, namely the toilet paper, going, man, everyone is just caught up in this hysteria to the point where you now believe you need 96 rolls of toilet paper to make it through 2 weeks. If that's what's going on, you have a much bigger problem than COVID. Like you've got the cyclo-runny-asses thing, right? You got the Hershey Highway. The Hershey Highway is flash flood warning on the Hershey Highway. You don't want that. It's like, you really need that much toilet paper? 96 rolls? What are you going to do with all that? Actually, there were people in New York that were, because God bless capitalism. There were people in New York that were buying the toilet paper and then, of course, reselling it in the parking lot at a premium, which is extremely illegal, and those people were arrested. But I mean, I give them credit for trying. I definitely give them credit for trying. Like, why not? I have an entrepreneurial mindset, which is, by the way, exactly what's going to happen in New York City with the city-run grocery stores. You're going to buy something at a 30% discount, then you're going to mark it up in the parking lot, and you're going to make a killing. Black market, or excuse me, it's a market of color. We have to be politically correct here in the year 2026. Okay.
Somebody said they stocked up on peanut butter.
That's the best video.
That was the only time I can really use that button.
That's the best
thank
video.
you for saying that.
If you've ever seen that video before where there's that kid, he has the Nutella can and he reads it, N-U-T-E-L-L-A. What's that say? Peanut butter! Okay.
I've been waiting to use that button, so that was the perfect opportunity.
She's been waiting to use the peanut butter button. There it is. But we get the lockdowns, the ridiculous curfews, and we're all sitting there going, this is insane. And then George Floyd happens in May of 2020. And all of a sudden, all those rules went out the window. If you were out, and I don't know, I have something in my eye, so I don't know what's going on. All those rules went out the window if, of course, you were protesting social justice, racial justice, all cops are bad. You could do whatever you want. But if you were going out there saying, hey, let us open our businesses again. No, that's a super spreader event. All of those draconian lockdown policies, all of those measures, all of those recommendations, all of those rules, because they weren't laws, but they were rules that we didn't have to follow. If we, and I talk about we, I tried not to follow as many of them as possible. I remember traveling during that whole thing, coming back into the airport. They wanted me to write my name down on a page to do contact tracing. And I said, that's not going to happen. Oh, you have to do it. Really? I have to? And who's going to make me do it? Are you going to chase me around the airport? Look at you, you slob. I'm definitely faster than you. You're never going to catch me. Now the whole plane's going to empty out, and you're not going to get anybody's name on the page. Why don't you just cut your losses, leave me alone? This is America. We don't do that crap here, to quote the great Andy Ogles, congressman in Tennessee's 5th Congressional District, who at the time was the mayor of Murray County, Tennessee, who did not entertain any of the lunacy that Anthony Fauci was pushing on the rest of the country. This all comes back to Fauci. Fauci watered the seed that Dan Bongino planted, and it started sprouting up while we were living through the lockdowns in New York State. Some of the more bizarre rules, and we talked about this a little bit earlier in the week, but I'll go over it one more time. Some of the more bizarre rules, right? The curfews, as if you're out past 11 o'clock, there's more virus out at that time than there is at any point in time during the day. Like mosquitoes, like they come out at dusk and they're out when it starts getting dark, where they don't come out in the middle of the heat. There's not as many mosquitoes. So like the virus comes out in waves. No. Because then Andrew Cuomo decided a few weeks after that, the curfew's now midnight. What'd you sign a deal or something with COVID? Don't come out till midnight now. The people want to stay out an hour longer. We had that. The schools getting shut down. When children were the least vulnerable demographic when it came to this virus. On the flip side of that, you had remember Trump sent a hospital ship to Manhattan? It was sitting there docked on the Hudson River, empty, while Andrew Cuomo sent sick people into nursing homes, the most vulnerable of our population. The elderly. Immunocompromised, even through seasonal flu. You don't want to get elderly people sick because they have a higher chance of death. Oh, but in the name of science, he took sick people and stuck them in nursing homes. Where was Anthony Fauci? Saying that's not a good idea. He was nowhere. Because he doesn't care. Because the guy's a monster. The draconian lockdowns, and this wasn't just New York that suffered these lockdowns. You had Pennsylvania, you had New Jersey, you had Michigan. In Michigan, this was great. In Michigan, You are not allowed to garden and grow food, but you could still grow marijuana. Well, that sucks, because what the hell happens if you get the munchies, right? Yeah, you grow all this pot in your backyard. That's cool. Now you're high as a kite, but you don't have any potatoes to pick in your garden either, because Gretchen Whitmer said you can't do that. Ladies and gentlemen, the source of all of that lunacy is Anthony Fauci. This guy is one of the most evil people to walk the earth. I don't say that to exaggerate. That is not hyperbole. That is not me being a sensationalist. It is the truth. The learning loss that your children suffered as a result of the lockdowns. That's Anthony Fauci. The small businesses that were destroyed, never to return again as a result of the lockdowns. That's Anthony Fauci. The elderly who were killed in those nursing homes because Andrew Cuomo decided it was a good idea to send sick people into nursing homes, and then other states around the country followed his lead because Anthony Fauci said that Cuomo was the gold standard. That's Anthony Fauci. The economic impacts, spending on measures that we didn't need to spend on. That's Anthony Fauci. But if it wasn't for Fauci's lockdowns, I don't know if I would be sitting here today. Because I might not have been angry enough. New York might not have been angry enough. Long Island might not have been angry enough. But in the late summer, early fall of 2020, a lot of people started saying, we've had enough. We have had enough. You started to see in places like Florida, where DeSantis, his favorite condiment is mustard, but where DeSantis came out and said, we're not playing along. You saw the boat parades starting to take off, right? The Trump flags everywhere. And that started to happen on Long Island as well. I remember going out to watch one of them. And there was a bunch of people parked in this obscure location, and they were all there to watch those boats too. But nobody was admitting why they were there. That is until my obnoxious ass decided on the bed of my pickup truck, I was just going to crank the Trump rally from the night before, throw up an American flag and a Trump flag and the flag holders I've got drilled into my bed, and say, yeah, I'm here to watch the freaking boats. And if anyone has a problem with it, go ahead, come talk to me. Nobody had a problem with it. They were all there for the same reason, but they were afraid. And I said, this is a shame. This is the United States of America, and we're afraid to say that we support the sitting president of the United States who's going to be up for election in a couple of months. Driving home, I felt a little bit of joy. No, I felt a little bit of energy, a little bit of enthusiasm.
That was good. I wasn't expecting.
And a little bit of stick it to him. Where is she? Where is she?
That's the Michigan way.
I can't go a day without playing that because she's just such a chipmunk. I felt good, but I felt upset driving home. I said, wow, look at all those people that were out there. Once they got comfortable, look at how easy it was to get them engaged, right? But I was upset. It was bittersweet because why were they uncomfortable? Why did it take an obnoxious 29-year-old with a very loud Bluetooth speaker blasting the president flying a drone over boats to get these people to come out of their, to break out of their shells? Why? If we truly were the silent majority, if we truly believe that we are the majority, that there's more of us than there are of them, then there is no reason to remain silent. And so I said, you know what? I don't have a boat. A lot of those people who were there watching the boats don't have boats. But we all have cars. Why don't we do a little driving rally like they did with these boats, right? Posted it on Facebook. Mind you, I was selling paint at the time. I wasn't doing Trump's voice online. I had no platform. And we had a great showing at that first event. And everyone asked me after that first, when are we doing another one? I said, just like Anthony Fauci, 2 weeks, right? Works for him, works for me. Cuomo had the movie theater shut down. They got big parking lots. We had 3,000 vehicles come to that second event. That movement turned into something that we called the loud majority. Because there's no reason to be silent if we're in the majority. And we point back to Anthony Fauci and the disastrous policies, recommendations, whatever you want to call them, that he pushed on governors across the country that they fell in line with without questioning a single thing. You look at how that motivated patriots in deep blue New York. And I said, you know what? Just like that, what is that Jay-Z song? If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere, right? What is that? That Empire State of Mind? Is that the one? Right?
Yeah, but we don't like them.
We don't like them, but the line is true. If you could do it there, if it could be done in New York, it could be done anywhere. But you've got to have that motivation. And the motivation at that time was Anthony Fauci. And folks, we are coming up on the midterm elections. We are coming up on November of 2026, where the same communists who genuflected at the altar of Anthony Fauci are trying to take power in this country, and we can't let it happen. We have an election to win. It is time to lock in. It is time to engage. It is time to remember why we care so much, what we suffered through in 2020, and what we suffered through in the Biden years, and what we're still trying to dig ourselves out of. And that is why yesterday on Capitol Hill, that Anthony Fauci testimony, I saw a lot of people, nothing's going to happen to him. What's the point? Why are we even doing this? Why are we doing this? It's so that when you show those cuts yesterday of Fauci pleading the fifth, he's got a pardon. The federal government can't even touch him. He's got a pardon. Even Trump said in the Oval Office yesterday, he respects the Biden auto pen pardon because the power to pardon is incredibly broad and one of the most powerful powers that the president of the United States has. He can't even self-incriminate unless he lies. He can't even self-incriminate. He's got a pardon that goes all the way back to 2014. I want the normies. I want the moderates. I want the people who looked at us like we had 7 heads during the COVID years when we said, hey guys, maybe we should calm down and not get ahead of ourselves and not start shutting everything down when, you know, this virus may not be more severe than a bad flu season, which it turns out that's all it was. I want the people who looked at us and said, you're a conspiracy theorist, you're a super spreader, you're a terrorist, I want those people like John Fetterman to acknowledge they were wrong. Because once they do that and they acknowledge they were wrong, they're at the same time acknowledging that we were right. And if they're going to acknowledge that we were right, that we had a better idea of how to navigate through the COVID pandemic than the quote unquote experts, that gives us credibility. It takes credibility away from the ones who are propping up the experts relentlessly and censoring the opposition. And that puts us in a better position to win the 2026 midterms. Everything comes back to the midterms. Everything comes back for me to winning elections. If I'm going to put out a funny Trump video, I want to make sure if it's going to get a lot of views, I want those views to translate into wins. If it translates into followers and they start reading my content, listening to shows, listening to podcasts, reading my posts, etc., I want that to translate into activism. I want that to translate into wins. I want that to translate into action. That's been my motivation since day one. So why was the Fauci hearing yesterday so important? It wasn't necessarily important to us. We already knew the guy was full of crap. It didn't break new ground for us. We already knew. We already had a reasonable expectation he was probably going to plead the fifth. It didn't break new ground with regards to the audience that's here today, the majority of it, because we already didn't trust the guy. We already don't like the guy. But for people like John Fetterman, and if you think he's the only, in terms of elected Democrats, he's unique. But if you think this guy is a unicorn and that there's no other Democrats who feel the same way that he feels about Fauci, I think you're misreading the whole thing. There are plenty of people just like John Fetterman out there, and I want to reach those people and say, hey, no hard feelings. I don't care what you said about me 6 years ago. I don't care how you felt about people like me 6 years ago. I'm here now. You saw that they played you. You saw how big of a mistake they made. Are you going to vote for the people who enabled those mistakes and censored any criticism of those actions at the time? It's popular now to trash Anthony Fauci. It wasn't in 2020. It cost people their jobs. It cost people their social media accounts. It cost people their families. It cost people their friends. That's why this Fauci thing meant so much to me, because I lived it. I saw it motivate a group of people in New York to get up and make a change and make a difference, and it made a difference. No, Donald Trump did not win, air quotes, the 2020 election. But you know what happened on Long Island as a result of the loud majority movement? Suffolk County, the eastern county of Long Island, we activated a ton of parents and played a huge role in electing a new district attorney, flipping that seat from Democrat to Republican, building a massive Republican supermajority in the county legislature. Over in the western county of Long Island, a man by the name of Bruce Blakeman, you may have heard of him. He's running for governor now. Won and flipped Nassau County's county commission, county executive seat from Democrat to Republican in the fall of 2021 on the backs of parents who were pissed off about what Fauci put their kids through in the schools and the mask mandates and the curriculum and the idea of potential vaccine mandates for children. Bruce Blakeman gave one of his first campaign speeches on the bed of my pickup truck. I didn't even know who he was. I said, here you go. Here's a megaphone. That's a picnic table that we're using as a set of steps. You're on, and then Lee Zeldin's on after you. True story. It happened in Bethpage State Park in June of 2021. It's the truth. I saw people in New York, turn a bad thing into a good thing. And I want the entire country to follow in our footsteps. We flipped school board seats, library board seats. I didn't even know library board was a thing. Congressional seats, state legislative seats. I had a state senator compare me to a terrorist, Timothy McVeigh. She's not a state senator anymore. You know why? Because she messed with the wrong group of people and she lost. That's why. And if we were able to do it on Long Island with the forces that were working against us there, teachers' unions, New York state government, then we can do that everywhere. But it's not easy. It's not easy. And it's no hard feelings. Anyone who looks at it this way, they'll go, oh, you do a Trump voice. Before I even started doing that, my name was on a list. Antifa was sending me death threats because of the actual work that we were doing on Long Island. And I want that work to be replicated in all 50 states. We need to take back this process, and we can do it. Use Fauci as your motivation. That is one of the most evil SOBs to ever walk the planet. He played a lot of people. I know that there are a ton of people who are pissed that they watched this guy yesterday, normies, moderates, watching this guy yesterday plead the fifth 111 times, not defending the expertise that we were told to blindly trust. And if that's you, if you're that moderate right now listening, hell, if you're that liberal right now listening, going, he's making great points, then I encourage you to not put your weight, put your support, and put your vote behind the same people who propped that guy up and censored the opposition come November. We have an election to win. And if you needed any more kick in the ass to get you going, yesterday should be it. I want to get to John Fetterman. Let's get to this clip. and show you this. If you think this guy's alone, I don't know what to tell you. Fetterman regrets believing Fauci, and I know a whole hell of a lot of other people regret believing Fauci too. Let's roll this cut.
It's not about much more your regrets, but I have one, and that is early on that there was the theory that the virus could have emerged from the lab, and early on that became like a right-wing kinds of theory, and I thought it seemed to make sense. Now, there was a really advanced lab that was close by, and then you have this unknown virus out. So, but that became a very partisan thing, and now it seems now it's more and more emerging theory that that would have come from the lab. Now, you know, I think that the next time our nation's facing something like this, we are not become, you know, as I might have been, blinded by the partisan idea that maybe the truth might come from a side that's different than you are. But I think we should really be willing to pursue truth, no matter where that may have emerged, you know, for all of that.
I respect him for talking like this, okay? Look, is there a little bit of posturing that's going on with Fetterman? Oh, he's posturing as a moderate. And you can go back into 2022. I crapped all over this guy, called him a loser, said, this guy's not, we don't want him to win that seat against Dr. Oz, which was a whole nother scenario in Pennsylvania in 2022. For the record, and I'm not ashamed to say it, I wanted Kathy Barnett to be the nominee in Pennsylvania. She's great. But that's okay. Primaries happen, and the primary voters chose Dr. Oz. It is what it is. He didn't beat Fetterman, and that is what it is. Fetterman has been a pleasant surprise, at least the things he says. His voting record could use work, but he's a Democrat. He's not a Republican. But I can appreciate him saying, look, the truth is the truth no matter whose mouth it comes out of. If Rachel Madcow tonight on MS Now says water is wet, I'm not going to go, well, water must be dry because everything she says is wrong. I don't have mad cow derangement syndrome, okay? The truth is objective. The truth. There's some people, my truth, your truth. No, the truth. The truth. If Jake Tapper came out today on CNN and goes, 2 + 2 is 4, I'm not going to disagree with him because it's the truth. Okay? Fetterman, and there's a lot of other people like Fetterman who feel the exact same way. And then there's people like us who knew this from the beginning, who were pissed about Fauci from the beginning, who feel the same way as Bernie Moreno from the great state of Ohio. Language alert. I know there's a lot of people who don't love F-bombs. That's fine. This is the F-bomb. This is my favorite F-bomb probably ever given by a U.S. politician. Because he said it to a guy who needs to hear this over and over and over again. I said yesterday on social media, I said, what you're watching now with this Fauci hearing is why people always ask me, right, Bernie? Always, when are you running for office? And I'm like, because how is a hot-headed Long Islander with a very short fuse supposed to keep his cool in a hearing where one of the most evil men to walk the face of the earth is sitting there staring at me with those beady little weasel eyes that he's got, Anthony Fauci? How am I not supposed to throw something at him at that point? That's all I'm saying. I would be throwing, it would look like WWE. It's a steel chair. Bah! I would be taking it like the Undertaker, tombstone pile driver right through the desk that he's sitting at. I would not be able to control myself. No, you'd be able, no. Not Fauci. Not Fauci. Not Fauci. Because I saw what he did. I saw the people he hurt. I heard the stories of the people who lost loved ones because of him. And I would not be able to control myself. So people are like, when are you going to run for office? I say, probably never. I never say never, but I say probably never, ever, 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 ever. You know, like how Brandon Gill, he's calm. He's like stone-faced. He's just going right at him, asking the questions. I would be losing my mind. So Bernie Moreno yesterday And I know this clip was all over the place anyway, so it's kind of old. But we got to play it because we have to just appreciate this guy. He was us. We are him. Bernie Moreno doing exactly what needed to be done, saying exactly what needed to be said to evil Anthony Fauci. Let's roll it.
Those policies were put in place because you had moronic politicians that listened to the words of a megalomaniac who was more interested in having met a Kardashian than the suffering of the American people. And that is you. Your advice to communities like that, to idiotic politicians who enforce those rules, arrested that mom for watching a football game with her own family outside. When that story broke, I said to myself, I cannot stand idly on the side and watch this happen. It was about 6 years ago today that I decided I'm going to give up my businesses, sell them all, run for office, run for the United States Senate. Here I am sitting in front of you 6 years later saying, who the fuck do you think you were for doing that? It is a total disgrace what you did to this country.
Now, the F-bomb was the flashy part of the speech. But do you see how this ties it all together? What did Bernie Moreno say he did when he saw what Anthony Fauci caused? Sold his businesses, got off the sidelines, and got on the front lines in Ohio. That should be every single one of us. The F-bomb was great. I love it. The F-bomb was, oh, wow. Where's my air horn? Yeah. He dropped an F-bomb. It's awesome. And I listen, I would love to drop many F-bombs on Anthony Fauci's head. I would love it. It would be such a cathartic exercise to me if I could have him in front. You know, they have like a dunk tank where you could throw the ball and dunk him in the. I wouldn't even throw the ball. I would just curse him out the whole time. You beep. It would sound like an episode of the Osbournes, like Morse code. You are the. I hate it. I can't stand it. It would be like Morse code, like the Titanic going. That's what it would sound like. I don't need to dunk you in the water. I gotta get I have to give me 5 minutes. Like that scene in Batman. Where's the Joker? Where is he? But the most important thing to take out of that Moreno speech was the fact that he, just like I told you for the first 30 minutes here, right? Just like I told you for the first 30 minutes, because of what Fauci did, he was motivated to take initiative, to take a stand, to get involved. He ran for U.S. Senate and he won. That doesn't mean everybody has to run for office, but everybody's got to play a role. Many hands make light work. So let's get to work. Let's do it. Rand Paul, yes, and Dr. Fauci, you lied to Congress. Rand Paul, who, you know what I find fascinating? His relationship with Trump is it's on and off like the lights in Somalia, in Mud Hut land. It's on and off like the lights in a third world country. One day, Trump, I don't like Rand Paul. Wait, that's not how Trump sounds. I don't like Rand Paul. He's a nasty person. He's got a ramen noodle haircut. Nasty guy. And then another day, Rand Paul's doing a tremendous job. He's a fantastic person. He's got beautiful hair, locks of love. We love his hair. Right? So but Rand Paul, when it comes to Fauci, has been very consistent, and he's been on point from day one. I mean, I remember Rand Paul got COVID, got natural immunity, and then volunteered in a local emergency room. He's an ophthalmologist. He was volunteering because he got his natural immunity. Rand Paul, Dr. Fauci, you lied to Congress. You ought to be ashamed of the pain you caused our country. I'm working on my Rand Paul.
So he sounds like, what's his name? John Kennedy.
No, John Kennedy, a little more nasally.
Yeah,
President
right.
Biden.
Yeah.
That's John Kennedy's nasally, right?
Yeah.
You know, that's hotter than a skeeter's ass on a Thursday morning in the middle of August. That's the things that he comes out of. The things that he comes out and says.
Yeah.
My favorite Kennedy. There's two. Goat's milk latte drinking, high IQ, stupid people.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And there's going through life is hard, but it's even harder when you're stupid. And then there's my favorite is, if President Biden was in charge of the Sahara Desert, he'd run out of sand.
I like the one where it would be cheaper to smoke crack.
Oh, that was a good one too. Yeah. He said he was on Fox News. He said the price of gas is so high, it would be cheaper to buy cocaine and run everywhere.
I think that one's my favorite.
That's actually a really good one. Rand Paul is now pushing for Anthony Fauci to be held in contempt of Congress again. And I took a little heat for this yesterday. Oh, but you told us you didn't think anything was going to happen. Well, I'm going to tell you the truth. Would you rather me sit in front of this camera and behind this microphone and say, yeah, Anthony Fauci's going to Gitmo tomorrow. Trust me, bro, I got sources. No, I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't think federally anything is going to happen to Anthony Fauci. But Rand Paul announced that he's going to be pursuing contempt of Congress charges. Says that we believe that with his immunity from criminal liability, he didn't need to hide behind the Fifth Amendment, and maybe the Fifth. Stop reading it. It doesn't sound like Rand Paul at all. Maybe the Fifth Amendment doesn't attach where you have a pardon in place. Paul explained, noting it would be a legal question. So we'll see, because Josh Hawley echoed those comments as well. Let's go to Hawley. Hawley said Fauci didn't have the Fifth Amendment rights, and it's up for debate. He cited a court case. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, but I'm all for pursuing it. I'm all for pursuing it. But if I'm going to be honest with you, and I say this all the time, I may not tell you everything you want to hear, but I will always tell you what I believe to be the truth and why. The pardon is going to be a very tough obstacle federally when it comes to accountability for Anthony Fauci. But it's not over. Because there are these things in our country called states, and we'll get to that in a second. But let's play Josh Hawley. Josh Hawley says here that Fauci doesn't have the Fifth Amendment rights because of the pardon, which Rand Paul seems to agree with. Roll it.
Let's just get one thing straight. You don't have any rights under the Fifth Amendment because you've been pardoned, as you very well know. As the Supreme Court has been clear for a century and more, Brown versus Walker, 1896, when he has been pardoned, he may not stand upon his privilege. You know that. Your lawyers sitting behind you now shifting nervously in their chairs. They know it. This isn't about the Constitution. This isn't about the law. This is about contempt. Contempt for this body and contempt for the American people. But I think I know why you're doing it. It's because you don't want to answer questions. It's because you did all kinds of terrible things. It's because during the pandemic, you got rich, didn't you? You got rich while people were dying, hundreds of thousands of Americans, over 1 million in the end, and you were getting rich. And not only were you doing that, you were using federal employees with taxpayer money to apply for and solicit cash prizes for you personally. Cash prizes totaling over $1 million. You did all of that during the pandemic, didn't you? That's a question.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Yeah, that was just one out of the 111 times that Anthony Fauci pled the Fifth. Garbage. Rand Paul said the chairman has denied your assertion of privilege and directed you to answer, but you nonetheless refuse and stand on privilege despite the existence of the pardon. The committee will have to consider after this hearing what appropriate action should be taken against you for the failure to testify after being directed to do so. He added, it's against the law to obstruct an investigation of Congress. There will be repercussions to your refusal to testify today. Okay, again, do I think that Anthony Fauci is going to go to jail for contempt of Congress? So I think that even the Senate or Congress is going to come through on that. Probably not. You're probably not going to see federal accountability. It doesn't mean don't try. I give Rand Paul a lot of credit for actually trying. It may be an exercise in futility, but you got to try. Accountability matters and justice matters. So I give him my full support, Rand Paul, on this effort. I'm not going to guarantee that something's going to happen. I don't do that. I see enough of that on social media. So-and-so's going to Gitmo. I said, nah, probably not. Not that they shouldn't, but, I don't know who told you that, but whoever told you that is lying to you. All right. But it's not over. Because you have, finally, the great free state of Florida leading the way. Once again, the state of Florida showing America how to play to win. In the words of former New York Jets head coach Herman Edwards, we called him Hugging Herm, right? He gave the players a hug when they made a mistake. Not the way to coach football. Then again, if you're the coach of the New York Jets, it's not going to work out well. It's not going to work out well. All right. You play to win the game, Herman Edwards. Don't love him, but that's the truth. You play to win. Florida's Attorney General, James Uthmeyer, is launching an investigation into Anthony Fauci over his COVID-19 conduct. Quote, Fauci's lack of candor to Congress is unbelievable, Uthmeyer said. My office is launching an investigation into Dr. Fauci. It is past time we get the truth of what happened during COVID. There, again, is what I've been talking about. Bringing it full circle. Back to the beginning and the prevailing theme of today's show. Let these actions, let what you saw on Capitol Hill yesterday and the actions of Anthony Fauci, let it serve as motivation to take initiative and do something. Without that hearing, is James Uthmeyer investigating Anthony Fauci? Probably not. Considering what Uthmeyer said, this hearing was unacceptable. We're now investigating. Hello, that is what we're looking for. Will there be other states that follow suit? Maybe, hopefully. If you live in a state like I do, Tennessee, if you live in Arkansas, if you live in Missouri, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Louisiana, Texas, all these other red states, specifically these states out here in the South, let's get on the phones today. Let's call our state attorney general's office and say, did you see that hearing on Capitol Hill? He's shielded from federal prosecution, but he is not shielded from state prosecution and state investigation. And we need to do our jobs in our states to hold this guy accountable for what he did. Let the negative actions of Dr. Fauci motivate you to make positive change. Build that momentum ahead of the election. Mobilize people, motivate people, engage people, reach people, activate people, and bring an army with you to the polls to win in the 2026 midterms. Florida's leading the way on this. Hopefully they're not alone. But when you have someone ask, what's the point of even having this hearing? Throw that article right in their face and say, this is the point. It at least got a state to start investigating Anthony Fauci, and Fauci is not shielded from criminal liability at the state level. The pardon only addresses federal crimes. Let it motivate you. Let it motivate you. Let it light that fire under your ass and let it get you go to work. All right. Quick break, because that's it on Fauci. I hope you enjoyed that. I do. I think people loved it. I think they loved it. I think it was great. I have to say, I think it was great. And if you didn't like it, well, hold on. If you didn't like it, then...
You are not a smart person.
Yeah, you are not a smart person. I'm just kidding. To each their own. To each their own.
Oh, wait.
Wow.
If you didn't like it.
You are gay.
Oh! Good one.
Why are you gay?
Nice. If you've never seen that interview, by the way, it's on Ugandan television. Is this guy, he asks like this. They're trying to wrap their heads around how the transgender thing works. And you've seen the clips, but the full interview is an hour long of this. He just looks at him. Why are you gay? And the kid goes, who says I'm gay? You are gay. You are transgender. Then he goes,
then who is gay?
Then who is gay? Should I call you Mister? And then like during this interview, a pastor in Uganda storms the set with a banana, a carrot, and a cucumber, and uses these vegetables as, well, bananas aren't vegetables. Cucumbers aren't vegetables either, are they?
I think it's technically a fruit.
Because of seeds in them, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he uses this produce to demonstrate what people are doing to each. Oh, it's just great. Go on YouTube and look for the Why Are You Gay full interview. It is the best interview to ever take place on any form of television. It's nonstop insanity. So that's a little tangent. All right, let's get to a word here. I'm going to get to a word here from our friends over at Native Path. You guys know my health history. You may not know my health history, but you know Dan's health history, right? He's battled some pretty serious stuff. But you guys know, not going to mess with supplements unless it's helping my body. Every day, Paula and Dan have been taking collagen for a long, long time. Collagen is the protein that helps hold your body together. It is critical. After 30, often our bodies lose 1 to 2% of collagen every year. But here's how taking collagen is helping me. I've got bad elbows and shoulders. Collagen is awesome for helping me with joint stiffness and mobility. It helps support muscles, and especially if you exercise. And it is great for helping with bone density. Paula will tell you all about that as well, how great collagen has been for her skin and hair. Now, here's a great deal. Nobody does deals like I do. I got you over 45% off. Free shipping and a 365-day money-back guarantee. If you don't feel a real difference in your health, you get your money back. No questions asked. Go to getnativepath.com/Dan. That is getnativepath.com/Dan. These statements and products have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or condition. Consult with a healthcare professional. Getnativepath.com/Dan. Thank you, Get Native Path. Appreciate it. All right, we're gonna roll into now. We got to roll into, because we're gonna talk a little bit 2026 and kind of some of the lunacy that we're running against. James Tallarico in Texas. This guy is the poster child for Soy Boys United. Okay, did you see him eating that barbecue turkey leg with a napkin? Look. He went from having a meat-free campaign to like, oh, crap, I'm running in Texas and they like meat here. Look, I'm eating a turkey leg. I'm super cool. So now he's been posting ads in his, with him driving a truck. And I may have to sell my truck because I have the same truck as him. He has a Chevy Colorado.
Oh, no?
Yeah.
What are we going to do?
Probably going to have to sell it. I can't drive the same thing as James Tallarico. Either that or someone's got to repossess his truck.
You can't get rid of Dorinda.
The truck's name is not Dorinda. She thinks the truck's name is Dorinda. It's Old Glory.
Because mine is Miss Doris.
Well, yeah.
So I got to call it, Double D.
No, Double D. Talk about Double D. Donald Trump was running for president. It's got to be, never mind. All right, here we go. Let's roll this Tallarico ad with him and his, apparently this Ram truck. This is not the normal truck that he drives, but let's roll this ad.
Across Texas, people are waking up before the sun, working hard, stretching every dollar. I was born to one of those people, a single mom guided by faith who did whatever it took to provide for me. As a teacher, I saw families doing everything right and still falling behind. In the State House, I brought both parties together to lower drug costs and cut property taxes. I'm James Tallarico, and I approve this message because I'll take on corruption and make this economy work for working people again.
Okay. So that was a Ram pickup truck. Apparently that's not his truck, but this is really embarrassing. So the Colorado is a mid-size pickup. The Ram, what he was just driving there, the 1500, was a full-size model. The ad, this is on Breitbart, titled "Waking Up," opens on Texans rising before dawn and casts Tallarico as one of them. Yeah, Tallarico. He's probably never woken up a day before dawn. He talks about being raised by a single mother, guided by faith. You guys heard it. Well, here's an odd detail. This is from David Weigel, W-E-I-G-E-L, from on X. His handle is at, let's see if I can get this pulled, at Dave Weigel, W-I-G-E-L, D-A-V-E-W-E-I-G-E-L. Apparently, it's my first time reading words today. He says here on X, odd detail in a new Tallarico ad. He drives a Chevy Colorado, which has appeared in other ads and profiles. But here, He's driving a Dodge Ram 1500. And it's not hard to spot. You could see the plate, which is linked to an enterprise rental. So this guy literally rented a bigger truck to drive in the ad to appear more like a manly Texan man. Everything's bigger in Texas, including James Tallarico's lies, apparently. What an embarrassment. Just be yourself, dude. Just be yourself. Unless you're embarrassed by what you actually are and you know you don't appeal to Texans anywhere. When I think of Texans, you know, I think of like, I don't know if he's from Chuck Norris. Because wasn't he Walker, Texas Ranger? Chuck Norris?
I don't know.
Was that him?
I'm not sure.
Maybe I'm making that up. But I still think of Chuck Norris because he's a tough guy. That's what I think of when I think of Texas. When I think of Texas, I think of producer Jim Verdi. Because he lives there now. But he's from Brooklyn originally. But tough. You know, barbecues in his backyard. When I think of Texas, I don't think of James Tallarico and this soy boy little fairy lady boy guy running around. Oh my gosh! I love trans children. There's 57 genders. Recently, a clip came out of him saying that it was like some element of Islam that made him, that like encouraged him to be a Christian. I don't know what the hell he's talking about or what he's smoking. It's not legal. And he should probably stop. Just be yourself. Overcompensating with the big truck. Okay? Just be yourself. All right. One more before we have some fun for the day. Because we are going to have some fun for the day. We're not going to, I'll give it an honorable mention towards the end of the show. We are going to have some fun. The WNBA. By the way, our buddy Speak the Truth McGroin is single-handedly ruining the life of Angel Reese.
Oh, yeah.
One of his memes got over like almost 1 million views. It might have gone over. Because he compared her to Sid the Sloth from Ice Age. Because his eyes are like way out here. Yeah, so Angel Reese has atrophoia, as well as a football field between her eyes. And, you know, atrophoia, what is atrophoia? One eye looking at you, one eye looking for you. And that's caused by you become so disgusted by what you see in the mirror, one of your eyes just looks away.
They say, nope.
Nope, I can't do this. But the WNBA is a joke, and they're going after their best assets right now. Caitlin Clark, one of the best WNBA players to ever grace the league. You got this Sophie Cunningham, who is like, she's out there defending Caitlin Clark and now defending, you know, girls and saying men shouldn't play in women's sports. And so you had these two young fans at a WNBA game. I think this was last night. Brandy Cruz put this up on X. And they were apparently cussed out by the co-owner of the Seattle franchise in the WNBA. Your goal is to attract as many lifelong fans as possible. These girls are 16 and they're being cussed out because they're wearing Riley Gaines' company's merchandise, XXXY Athletics, and they support Sophie Cunningham. Let's roll this first cut here of these girls interviewed by, I believe it was Brandy Cruz on X. And then they're talking to them like, what happened? You guys got cussed out by like an old Karen owner of a basketball franchise? Roll cut this first cut here.
Well, we were just sitting there with our signs that said like, we love Sophie, like thank you Sophie for speaking up. And so we were holding them, just watching the game. Again, like, we were being super great. We hadn't said anything to anyone else. We were being super respectful. We were just holding our signs and cheering for both teams. And this lady, older lady, comes up to us. And she comes up to us, and at first I think she's gonna be nice, and then she asks like, what are you guys doing? Or something like that. And then it was like, Jesus loves everyone. That's what she told us. And I was like, oh, I know. Like, I'm religious. Like, I know. Like, I know. Nice. Yeah. And she's like, oh, I hope Jesus can forgive you for what sin you've done. And like something like that. And then she told us that we were effing insane. And she's like, and she went like this. Insane. Yeah. She's like, you better stop this. And stop pulling this. Yeah. And for you guys to come God here can and save you. This. Yeah.
She said, for you to come here and pull this shit. Yeah. She said the word.
Yeah.
Did she say effing insane or?
No, she said the word.
And nobody around you spoke up for you.
No.
Wow. So you got two 16-year-old girls at a basketball game. The WNBA is hurting for fans, right? They're hurting for attention. They're hurting for eyeballs. They're hurting for lifelong fans. More fans equals more revenue. They always bitch about, oh, we should get paid more. Well, you need to attract more people. You know why the NBA players make a lot more than the WNBA players? Well, one, the NBA subsidizes the WNBA. But two, more people care about the NBA. Therefore, they bring in more advertising dollars. Therefore, they bring in more ticket sales. Therefore, they bring in more jersey sales. It's a more entertaining sport or version of the sport. Men's basketball versus women's basketball. Why are you alienating young fans? Well, it's simple. It's because you're a miserable Karen. This co-owner of the Seattle Storm, I think is the name, she's got to be just a bundle of joy in her HOA. She's definitely a clipboard Karen. That weed is overgrown. Wait. Karen button.
That weed is overgrown. You get a fine. You get a fine. You get a fine. And let me clutch my pearls because you can't say nice things about Sophie Cunningham. After all, Sophie's a fascist.
Karen button. You're welcome. So you got two 16-year-old girls. They're there to watch the WNBA. They probably wouldn't have been there had it not been for Sophie Cunningham. And you go up to them and you say, you're effing insane? Probably not a good idea. You don't want to chase fans out of your building. All right, the interview continued for a little bit, so I want to get to the second half of that, if we can roll it. The Seattle co-owner cussing out these two 16-year-old girls. Here's more from what they had to say.
I will say, Annalie, when I came over, you were in tears.
Yeah, I've never been yelled at like that. I mean, I've had people hate on me on the internet, but like it doesn't really affect me as much because it's just people online. But that just took me by surprise because I thought she was going to be nice, and then she starts like screaming at us and cussing at us, so yeah.
And so you said she walked away, and we thought that was kind of it, but she mentioned something to you about like working for the team or...
There was another lady that like told us like we were able to have our opinions, but we needed to not be political about it. And I tried to explain to her I wasn't trying to be political. I was just trying to support Sophie and support the other teams.
And you were
too.
just sitting there watching.
Yeah, we hadn't interacted with anyone
sides.
except for like saying excuse me. Yeah. Like we were really nice and stuff. And then this lady told us like, well, you know who that is? And we were like, no.
So what was your reaction when I texted you that is the owner of the team?
Look at that Karen.
We were like, what? Yeah, we were shocked. Yeah, it's disappointing though too, because she's also a
feels like
woman,
Bernie Sanders.
Just kind of cussed out two 16-year-olds that were just trying to have fun.
That woman looks like if Bernie Sanders and Michael Moore had a baby. Not fat slob Michael Moore, hardcore leftist. The co-owner of the Seattle Storm cussed out two 16-year-old girls who were quite literally there to watch women's basketball. Not a lot of people do that. Like up until this point, the most entertaining thing that happened on a WNBA court was people throwing, inappropriate foreign objects onto the court. You cuss out two 16-year-old. What do you? Does it make you feel tough? You feel strong about it? You see the woman to the right of those girls too, by the way? No hate in these United States. She's holding a sign quite literally next to the no hate in these United States. While the owner or co-owner of the Seattle franchise quite literally hated on those two young girls to the point where they were in tears. 16 years old. It's an embarrassment. That's what we're running against. That's what we're fighting against. That's what we're up against. Full circle. Whatever it is that motivates you, whether it's Fauci, whether it's young girls getting cussed out by team owners, whatever it is. I don't care what gets you out of bed every day to get involved and to own this process. Find something. Find your why. I sound like one of those motivational speakers. Find your why. Find your why and execute. Finally, and I'll just go, I don't want to downplay this story, but it is heavy and we are about to have a lot of fun. One more story out of Connecticut. This is just awful. I'm tired of these stories. I'm tired of reporting on these stories, but we have to because people have to understand the risk that this open border and the harm that this open border exposes us to. It's not open anymore, but the Biden open border and the left-wing open border policies. An illegal alien in Connecticut is accused of killing a police officer and a mother of 3 in a drunk driving crash. Melissa Ramirez, 27-year-old illegal alien, arrested by the Danbury Police Department and charged with 2 counts of second-degree manslaughter with a motor vehicle, as well as illegal operation of a motor vehicle under the influence of drugs or alcohol. She, as a result of this, killed a police officer who was riding his motorcycle with his girlfriend on the back. Killed her too. She's a mother of 3. And so I ask you, how much more are we supposed to take? How much more are we supposed to take? This is a woman, if alien, you're not supposed to be in the country. How much more are we supposed to put up with when it comes to stories like this? Because I'm tired of it. I am tired of seeing Americans on the road getting killed by illegal aliens. And here's another one, and I can't verify. However, Blue Lives Matter on X, it appears, I don't know if this is the truth. I'm telling you that I wouldn't be surprised if this is the truth. It appears that that same illegal alien, not for nothing, Melissa Ramirez, not uncommon names here, with the same July 4th, 1999 birthday, this is coming from the Connecticut Sentinel, is registered as an unaffiliated voter in New Britain, Connecticut. Just to throw a little bit more fuel on the fire. More confirmation is needed to know if this is the exact same person, but it's the same name, same birth date, same state. So she might be registered to vote. That's that thing that they say is never happening. It's happening again. I forget who said it. It's not happening, but it's good that it is, right? Or the 4 steps. It's not happening. It's happening a little bit. It's happening a lot, and it's great. And if you don't agree that it's great, you're a racist. That's always the 4 steps that the left goes through. It was Michael Anton. It's not happening, but it's great that it is. All right. Let me take a breath. Let's do a little yoga. Namaste.
Oh, no.
Downward facing dog. Imagine Trump as a yoga instructor. That would be funny.
A yoga?
Mm-hmm.
Trump was a yoga instructor?
Because I bit my cheek just before.
Oh, no.
So now we have a little bit of a bloody cheek.
Supposed to do that.
Not supposed to do that. You're not supposed. Imagine Trump as a yoga instructor. Warrior 1. Warrior 2. All right. We got to have some fun here. So yesterday, Candace Owens decided that she was going to say that she had explosive new evidence.
Oh, I thought you were going to say
Well, I thought, believe me, the same joke ran through my head. Explosive with the cyclo running asses. Right. The cyclo running asses right now. Explosive. No. Candace had too much Taco Bell. She had explosive new evidence that was going to exonerate Tyler Robinson. And so she showed Tyler Robinson running on the roof. But he wasn't running. He was doing this kind of crawling motion. Oh. And she determined that this was what's known as a lateral crawl, and that the only way Tyler Robinson could ever figure out how to move like that is if he was professionally trained by the military or a military somehow, some way, which obviously is ridiculous. Anybody can move like that. I've crawled like that. Granted, it's after several shots of some high-proof alcohol. I'm not saying Tyler Robinson was drunk, but I'm definitely not trained by the military. So I have figured this out. Have you heard of Jimothy the raccoon?
No.
You have not heard of Jimothy?
No.
Oh my goodness.
Is that before?
So there's this raccoon that's gone viral on social media. He's a weird looking raccoon, and he moves.
I have seen him.
He moves weird.
Yeah. He's a little deformed.
I am going to say that I know why he moves weird. Candace Owens knows why he moves weird. It's because Jimothy was clearly trained by the military. Do we have the clip of Jimothy running around? Look at this. There's Jimmy. Look at that. Yeah. That's a military. That's a tactical crawl, right, Candace? That's a tactical crawl. Where did he learn that? Oh, breaking news. I'm getting a tip at the Candace Lack of Intelligence Agency. And it's he served 7 years in the IDF. What? Israel's behind Jimothy too? No way. Yeah, you could just look at that. One look at him says he's definitely Mossad. Either that or he might have been King Tut's pet raccoon who was delivered to the United States on an Egyptian plane. That's the only explanation as to why he's able to move like that. It's a lateral crawl.
I didn't know his name was Jimothy.
Yeah, they named him Jimothy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now I know what his name is.
There's no kickback either, right, Candace? Kickback? What the hell is that? Have you ever shot a gun before? There's no kickback. She meant recoil, but that word is too big for her. That's a debacle, isn't it, Candace? Debacle. That's how she pronounces debacle. Also, she appreciates all the architecture.
Burial, too.
Burial. What a joke. And to all the loons who are going to be like, oh, Fed slap. You are putting your faith in a woman who doesn't know where thunder comes from. Which she admitted. I didn't know where thunder comes from until my husband explained it to me. Well, did he tell you that it came from Israel too? Israel's responsible for all the weather. After all, there's Jewish space lasers, right? Freaking lunatic. So Jimothy has been explained. We've gotten to the bottom of Jimothy. Jimothy was doing a lateral crawl and clearly served 7 years in the IDF. He's definitely a part of MK Ultra, the Mossad, and whatever other shadowy Egyptian plane, beat cult, underground tunnel people with the maroon T-shirts. That's where Jimothy came from. All right. Finally, now usually producer Jim does the Democrat Zen moment of the week on Fridays. We're not going to be here tomorrow, so I'm going to give you a little Democrat Zen now. Although it's not really Zen. If you ever heard Jim's Democrat Zen, he finds some Democrat somewhere going absolutely ballistic. You know, like. Where's my LG? There's two types of people. There's like Mel Gibson, Braveheart, freedom! And then there's hardcore leftists. LG! Right? We are not the same. We are not the same. All right. Who sent this to me? I want to make sure that I shout this guy out. Let me see here. Someone sent this to me. His name is Michael Corrales on X. I saw this before he sent it, but then he sent it and I was like, oh my God, I had this. At Mike_CORRALES 13 on X. Give him a follow. Seems like a nice guy. Sent this to me and said, here's one for the unseasoned boiled chicken breasts, which my wife Brennan refers to Democrats singing. It is the great, and I say great with the largest air quotes known to man, Rosie O'Donnell. She remixed the If I Only Had a Brain song and decided this is a great thing to post on the internet and remixed it about Donald Trump and posted it about Donald Trump. So here's your Democrat Zen moment, sort of. But then I have a little bit of a response to Rosie O'Donnell that we're going to do as well. So let's roll Rosie. Roll
hey, everybody, Rosie. It's Saturday all day, as my Nana would say. Very tired from doing my one-woman show here in New York City. But when I got home last night, I watched a review of the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and I wrote this little song, a parody from The Wizard of Oz for our loving president. Ready? His approval rate is 30. His diaper's always dirty. I think the guy's insane. Da-da-da-da-da-da. He ain't no stable genius, got a teeny tiny, but he doesn't have a brain. The reflecting pool is green. His reasons were obscene. It's him we all do blame. Da-da-da-da-da-da. He grew a magic ear, stole billions in a year, 'cause he doesn't have a brain. Oh, I can't tell you why. Some people think he's smart. All he does is lie and cheat and steal and and he's asleep.
She's
When
finna say
meeting
fart?
starts, he still dreams that he is Putin, while our country he is looting. On humanity, a stain. Da-na, da-na-na-na-na. All he does is cause us trauma, 'cause he'll never be Obama, 'cause he doesn't have a brain. I hope you enjoy that, Donald. That's for you. A TikTok, you don't count.
That's all I have to say. This is a long sigh. Man, is she looking rough or what?
Why is she holding the camera so close to her face, too?
I don't know, but she used to have herpes.
Oh.
So, there was stuff all over her lips once. Anyway. I didn't do the full song because I saw this morning and was like, I got to remix this. I got to do one about Rosie. So,
Oh, no.
Now this woman is so crazy, so ugly, fat, and lazy, decaying in distress. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I'll be chowing on McDonald's while we mock Rosie O'Donnell. She's got stage 5 TDS. Thank you. God bless you. You're beautiful people, all right? You're beautiful people. I got along very well with a wizard. I got along very well with a scarecrow. And I got along very well with a lot of people, right? You look at the wizard. He said, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Beautiful guy. We got on a hot air balloon, otherwise known as Rosie O'Donnell, and sailed home. There's no place like home, Rosie. There's no place like home. And your home is not in the United States. It's in Ireland. So get the hell out of our country. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for an amazing week here on the Dan Bongino Show. I am so excited to kick off on August 17th, Shawn Farash Live, right here on Rumble, rumble.com/Shawn, on Bongino Report channel. It's going to be amazing. Go to Bongino.com/Shawn. Hopefully you enjoyed these Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday editions of the Dan Bongino Show. That should give you a good taste of what's to come every weekday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on rumble.com/Shawn. Also, anywhere you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, just search Shawn Farash Live. Hit subscribe. You're not going to want to miss it. We're going to have so much fun in the afternoons every single weekday. So please go out there, subscribe to those channels, subscribe on those platforms. To the wonderful Bongino Army who's been here all week, 35,000 strong right now, 25,000 strong. Thank you so much for being an accommodating audience. I love you guys. I can't wait to spend every afternoon with you guys. Haley Carania coming up at noon here on Rumble, rumble.com/Haley. The king of morning podcasts, Vince Colonnese, who we had on yesterday, coming up tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time. He's been rocking out every single morning in the mornings there. He is the king for a reason. We played his royal entry music yesterday when we did that interview. Thanks again for watching and listening. As President Trump says, we will never give up, we will never give in, and we will never, ever surrender. And if all else fails, folks, if all else fails, we will make America great again. God bless you. God bless America. We'll see you August 17th. I'm super excited about it. Remember, subscribe to Shawn Farash Live anywhere you get your podcast, rumble.com/Shawn. God bless you. God bless America. And thank you for your attention to this matter. The news moves fast, but the truth should not get lost in the chaos. I'm Shawn Farash, and this is Shawn Farash Live. Each episode brings you the biggest political stories of the day, common sense analysis, sharp humor, nobody does a better job, everybody's talking about it, and straightforward conversations about the issues shaping America's future. From Washington to the culture wars, from breaking news to the rising stars in the movement to save our country, we will cover what matters most and why. If you're tired of the spin, the fake news, the phonies, and the losers, and you're ready for informed, entertaining commentary that gets straight to the point, you are in the right place. Catch the show live on Rumble weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Time and subscribe anywhere you get your podcasts. I'm so excited to have you along for the ride. Thank you for your attention to this matter.